I'm going to start back at the H-1B process. So we talked about the market wage rate. The important thing with the H-1B process is making sure that the physician is licensed at the time of filing the H-1B. And that's a requirement for the H-1B. And of course, licensure takes time. They also have to pass the USMLEs 1, 2, and 3, be ECFMG certified, and the employment specific to where they're going to be working. The filing fees, government filing fees for the H-1B depends upon the size of the employer. So if you have someone with less than 25 employees, then the total government filing fees are $1,575. If it's more than 25, the government filing fees are $2,325, and that's basically broken down into three different government filing fees, which is $750, $500, and $325, or more than 25 employees, $1,500, $500, and $325. They want a faster decision via premium processing, then that's an additional $1,225. So that covers H-1Bs. Now I'm going to talk about the second strategy that physicians pursue the immigration process, which is J-1 residency. Coming in as a J-1 resident, then they're subject to the 2-year home residency requirement, and because of that, they need a J-1 waiver. So it's important to note that getting a J-1 waiver is not getting a visa. It just allows them to stay in the United States and apply for a visa. So that's why physicians, for instance, have to get the J-1 waiver and then apply for instance, an H-1B. Now there's a bunch of different types of J-1 waivers. There's a hardship waiver, no objection waiver, which does not apply to physicians, persecution waiver, and then interested government agency waiver. And the most popular type that we do for that is the Conrad 30 waiver. So the Conrad 30 waiver is a waiver that has 30 slots available in each state. And what it allows a physician to do, if they work in a state in an underserved area, they can, for 3 years, they can bypass that 2-year home residency requirement. And Conrad 30 waivers target primary care physicians. And primary care is generally family medicine, general obstetrics, pediatrics, internal medicine, and general psychiatry. Specialists may qualify, and that just depends on each state's rules. So that's state specific. So each state has their own unique filing requirements. They follow general guidelines, but each state, for instance, like I mentioned, specialists, they determine on whether or not they're going to accept specialists, or some of them will only accept specialists after a certain date. To give you an idea of what's going on right now, Texas, for instance, has already filled up all of their spots. California has a lot of spots available. As of today, they have only 3 applications that have been submitted, and Washington still has spots open. The best way to find out if they have spots available is to check the state's website. And sometimes the website's not updated, so then just calling the state health department, because it changes every single day. In submitting a J-1 waiver application, what's needed is a copy of the medical degree. We have to show that they've applied for state license. We have to show that they passed the USMLEs 1, 2, and 3, that they're ECFMG certified. There also needs to be a specific contract for employment, and we work with the facility on making sure that the contract meets the Conrad 30 guidelines. So there's specific J-1 waiver guidelines for the contract. So the first thing that we do when we start a Conrad 30 application is we want to make sure they're in a designated shortage area. And then what we'll do is we'll make sure that there's still spots available. And usually what I'll do is I'll call the state health department and have a conversation with them and make sure there's not any unique requirements that they have for that year, to make sure that the facility is going to qualify. And what we're doing when we submit an application to the state health department is we need to demonstrate that there is a need for the placement. And one of the ways we do this is, depending upon what that state's requirements are, providing community support letters, showing that the facility has done recruitment. And all of this is done to get a recommendation from the state health department's designated official.